There are moments in life when everything seems the same on the surface, yet something inside you begins to shift in silence. You still follow your routine, talk to the same people, visit the same places, but something invisible starts pulsing differently. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, like the moment the wind changes direction before a storm. Most people don't notice it, but you do. It's as if an ancient energy has begun to awaken within you, calling for your attention in ways your mind can't explain. And even if you try to ignore it, something insists on being heard the call of your soul. This awakening doesn't come with noise, it begins in stillness. In thoughts that once felt like coincidences and now sound like messages. In emotions that grow stronger for no apparent reason. In dreams that feel more real than the day itself. In a strange feeling that the world around you no longer fulfills you the way it used to. If this is happening to you, it's not by accident. You're awakening. And in this video, I want to show you the 7 silent signs that prove your soul is changing and how recognizing this process can completely transform the way you see life. Before anything else, take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear may explain much of what you've been feeling. It may even help you understand why lately nothing seems to fit the same way. And no, this isn't confusion, it's expansion. It's the beginning of a new phase of your consciousness, where what was once invisible starts to take form. The first sign that your soul is awakening is the feeling of being out of sync with the world around you. Suddenly, you realize that the conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. The goals that once seemed essential no longer move you the same way. You start to question whether what you're doing truly has purpose, whether you're in the right place, whether the life you built actually reflects who you are. That feeling can be uncomfortable, almost like you're living in a reality that no longer belongs to you. And, in a way, that's exactly what's happening. When your soul begins to awaken, it vibrates at a higher frequency, and everything that's not aligned with that vibration starts to fall away naturally. People, habits, environments. Nothing disappears by chance. Nothing drifts away without reason. It's the universe adjusting your energetic field to make room for the new. That's why what once made sense now feels tiring. What once brought you joy now feels dull. And at first, this can create a painful emptiness. But that emptiness is simply space being prepared for your new self. Maybe you've been feeling out of place lately, like you no longer fit into the same conversations, like people's energy affects you more than before. Maybe you've noticed that crowded places drain you, that you prefer silence, that you need time alone to feel whole again. That's your soul asking for space to breathe. When your energy changes, the noise of the world starts to bother you, and silence becomes your new language. That's the first sign. And if you recognize yourself in it, know this: it's not isolation, it's reconnection. The world may call it loneliness, but spiritually, it's your field aligning with something greater. The second sign appears right after, and it's deeper. It's when you start feeling emotions more intensely than ever before. Suddenly, everything touches you on a deeper level. A song can make you cry. A glance can move you. An old memory can surface and completely disarm you. Sometimes you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world, and at other times, like you're completely at peace. This happens because when the soul awakens, it begins to cleanse what was once dormant. Everything that was repressed, denied, or ignored begins to rise to the surface to be healed. It's as if your heart were a mirror that, for years, had gathered dust, and now, the light is starting to shine through it again. And for the light to enter, you must face the shadows. Don't run from those emotions. They are the purest sign that something inside you is being released. Crying for no reason, missing something you never lived, having intense dreams or recurring memories, none of that is weakness. It's the natural flow of your energy body adjusting itself. Spiritual awakening isn't about feeling good all the time, it's about becoming real. And being real requires moving through the layers you built to protect yourself. There's a moment in this process when everything feels confusing. You feel like you've lost control, like you're more sensitive than you should be, like maybe you're becoming too different. But that's exactly when the awakening solidifies. Because it's in that emotional chaos that your old self begins to dissolve and a new consciousness begins to emerge. And then, when you think you're falling apart, you realize you're actually rebuilding yourself from the inside out. That's where the third sign shows up, the strengthening of your intuition. Suddenly, you begin to sense things before they happen. You get strong gut feelings, have dreams that come true, notice subtle signs in the universe all around you, and everything starts to feel connected in ways you can't explain. Intuition is the language of the soul, and the more awakened it becomes, the louder it speaks. Maybe you've started to see repeating numbers, impossible coincidences, meeting people at the exact moment you were thinking of them. That's not chance, it's synchronicity. The universe starts responding to your vibration, and you begin to realize that nothing is random. Everything has a purpose. And when you start to listen to that inner voice, decisions become clearer even if they seem irrational to others. You begin to trust yourself more, not out of ego, but out of connection, because you feel that something greater is guiding you, and that trust changes everything. This is the point where many people feel afraid after all. It can be unsettling to realize that something invisible, yet very real, is guiding every step you take. But if you take a deep breath and learn to trust this flow, you'll discover that this force has always been with you. You had simply forgotten how to listen. And here comes a turning point. The more you follow your intuition, the more the outer world begins to reorganize itself. Doors close, paths open, people leave, and others appear as if they have been sent to you. It's life's energetic field, responding to the new frequency you're emitting. And this is when awakening stops being just a beautiful idea and becomes a living experience. You feel it, you see it, you know it even without proof. But along with this clarity comes a paradox. The more connected you feel to everything, the more distant you might seem from those who don't yet see the world that way. It's the price of expansion, and this is where many people give up, trying to return to their old normal. But you can't. Once you see, you can't unsee. What comes next is profound. Many call it the true beginning of awakening. After intuition awakens and begins to guide you, something inside you changes for good. You start to see the world with new eyes, as if a veil has been lifted from your mind. Things that once felt important now seem superficial. People you once admired now appear lost, searching for the same meaning you're beginning to touch. And that's where the fourth sign of soul awakening appears, the fall of illusions. This is one of the most challenging and liberating stages of the process, because suddenly, everything that was normal starts to feel false. You begin to see the masks people wear, the superficiality in conversations, the hidden intentions behind pretty words. You start to realize how much the world revolves around appearances, and how much of your own life was spent trying to fit into a mold that was never yours. This realization can hurt. It's like the ground beneath your feet opens, and you're left face-to-face with the naked truth. Nothing you were taught about happiness, success, or love was ever real enough. The soul awakens the moment you stop searching outside for what can only be found within. And once that truth hits you, there's no going back. You begin to pull away from what's shallow and seek what's real. Simplicity moves you. Nature attracts you more than anything artificial. Silence becomes more precious than any forced conversation. And the deeper you go into this state, the more you begin to sense the divine presence in the smallest things. In the wind, in a glance, in a gesture, in the exact moment something within you whispers, you're on the right path. But it's also in this phase that you may feel lost, because the world you once knew is crumbling, and the new one hasn't yet taken shape. You find yourself between two worlds, the old that no longer serves you, and the new that hasn't yet revealed itself. This is a sacred void. And within that void, the fifth sign arises, a deep desire to find purpose. You begin to feel a restlessness that won't go away. Nothing satisfies you the way it used to. You no longer want to just survive. You want to mean something. You want your life to have real impact. You want to wake up every day feeling that you're living for something that truly matters. That calling is strong, almost unbearable at times, and it comes from your soul trying to align with its true path. At this point, many people change careers and relationships, move to new cities, or simply stop everything to rethink their entire existence. From the outside, it might look like you've lost your mind, but in truth, you're coming back to sanity. You're remembering who you are. Spiritual awakening isn't about becoming enlightened. It's about shedding everything that isn't you. And the closer you get to your essence, the heavier the layers you must leave behind feel. Sometimes that hurts. Sometimes it's lonely, but the emptiness it creates within you is the same space where the new will be born. And here is where something powerful happens, because when you begin to listen to that calling and act accordingly, the universe responds. Small coincidences start happening. People show up at the perfect time. Paths open before you. It's as if life itself were saying, I've been waiting for you to remember who you are. But along with this new clarity comes a sixth sign, subtle, yet deeply transformative, the heightening of your energetic sensitivity. You begin to feel the vibrations of places, of people, even of thoughts. Crowded spaces overwhelm you. Negative conversations drain you. You start feeling the need to protect your energy, even if you can't explain why. Sometimes you get chills for no reason, goosebumps, or a tightness in your chest when something isn't right. This happens because, as your soul awakens, your energy field expands. You start picking up frequencies that once went unnoticed. And in this new state, anything heavy becomes unbearable. You realize you can no longer ignore what you feel because your body has become the first channel of truth. And here lies a great test. Awakening forces you to choose between following the vibration of fear or the vibration of truth. And that choice isn't theoretical. It happens every day in small decisions. To speak or to stay silent. To accept or to walk away. To follow intuition or give in to logic. It's in that inner conflict that the soul grows stronger. Every time you choose what's true, even when it hurts, your energy rises. And every time you retreat to the comfort of what's false, something inside you contracts. It's as if the universe were showing you that expansion comes with a price. You must be willing to let die what no longer resonates. And perhaps this is the most intense point of the entire process. Because here, you don't just feel transformation, you become the transformation. People around you start noticing that something about you has changed. Some are drawn closer, others drift away. And that's okay. What vibrates in harmony with your new frequency stays. What doesn't dissolves. It's the natural flow of awakening. And when you reach this stage, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to feel that everything around you, every event, every encounter, every silence is interconnected. That nothing is random. That every experience, even the painful ones, had a purpose to bring you here. This is the seventh and final sign of awakening the sense of unity. You begin to understand, not just intellectually but through direct experience, that there is no true separation between you and the world. That everything that exists is part of one vast, living consciousness, the same one that beats within your own heart. And it's in that realization that an immense peace takes root inside you. It's not a peace that comes from getting what you want, but from finally understanding that you already are everything you were searching for. You no longer chase answers. You become the answer. You no longer seek light. You realize you are light experiencing itself in human form. At this point, your relationship with life transforms completely. The need to control disappears. You begin to flow, truly flow, trusting that whatever comes is exactly what you need for your growth. Even chaos becomes sacred. Even pain becomes a teacher. You begin to live each day as if existence itself were breathing through you, guiding your steps in ways your mind could never predict. You understand that awakening isn't about escaping the human experience. It's about living it fully, with awareness. It's walking through darkness without fear, because you realize that darkness is just light in disguise. And then something beautiful happens. You stop taking life so personally. You stop fighting reality. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone, even to yourself. Because deep down, you know you are part of the infinite dance of existence. You're a fragment of the divine, experiencing itself through the miracle of being human. From that state, your energy becomes medicine. Your presence begins to heal without effort. Your silence speaks louder than your words. And your mere existence becomes a reminder to others of what they, too, carry within. This is the moment the awakened soul begins to serve not out of obligation, but out of overflow. Because when you touch the essence of what you truly are, compassion flows naturally. You no longer seek to change the world through force, but through presence. You understand that the greatest revolution is internal, and that by transforming yourself, you shift everything around you. And that's when you realize something even deeper. The awakening never really ends. It's not a destination, it's a continuous unfolding. Like the ocean, it has no beginning or end. You don't arrive at enlightenment, you simply remember it again and again, in each breath, in each experience, in each moment of stillness between thoughts. And the more you surrender to that remembering, the lighter everything becomes. You laugh more. You forgive more easily. You stop resisting what life brings, because you trust that even the storms carry wisdom. It's here that life stops being a problem to solve and becomes a mystery to live. And you finally stop searching for meaning, because you become the meaning itself. You understand that everything, absolutely everything, was guiding you toward this. The rediscovery of your own essence. The realization that you were never disconnected, only asleep. And now that you've awakened, you see that nothing needs to be fixed. The world doesn't need saving. It needs remembering. It needs hearts that shine so brightly they help others remember who they are too. You become that light. Not because you're trying to, but because you can't help it anymore. Because the truth has taken root in you so deeply that every thought, every word, every gesture becomes a silent prayer. And that's when you finally understand what all the pain, confusion, and loss were preparing you for. They weren't punishments. They were initiations. They were the fire that melted everything false, so that only what was eternal could remain. Now, there is no longer a need to awaken, because you have realized that the one who was seeking to awaken was already awake all along. When the awakening settles into your everyday life, something subtle but profound happens. The extraordinary becomes ordinary, and the ordinary becomes sacred. You no longer need grand signs or cosmic revelations. A simple sunrise moves you to tears. A stranger's smile feels like a message from the universe. Every breath feels like a gift. You realize that enlightenment was never about escaping the world. It was about seeing the divine within it. In the sound of laughter, in the smell of rain, in the moment you look into someone's eyes and recognize yourself there. And from that point on, your life becomes a quiet offering. You don't preach. You don't convince. You simply embody. Your presence becomes your message. You start living in harmony with your inner rhythm, no longer rushing, no longer resisting. You begin to act from intuition, not from fear. You speak from love, not from ego. And every choice becomes a mirror of that inner alignment. People might look at you and not understand. They'll say you've changed, and they're right. But what really happened is that you remembered who you were before the world told you who to be. You now walk lighter. You no longer carry other people's expectations, because you know that your only true mission is to be fully yourself. And that's the paradox of awakening. You don't become someone new. You return to what you've always been. The illusions fall away. The noise fades. And what remains is silence, but not the empty kind. It's the silence of presence. The silence that breathes through everything. The silence where the divine whispers. You made it back home. It's here that your heart finally rests. Not because the world is perfect, but because you've stopped demanding that it be. You realize that peace was never waiting for you outside. It was waiting for you to stop searching. And now, with this awareness, you begin to live differently. You move slower. You listen deeper. You love without conditions. Because you've learned that every person you meet is carrying the same light, just hidden under different layers of forgetting. You start to see beauty in everything, even in endings. Because now you understand that every ending is simply another beginning wearing a different face. And one day, you'll look back and see how everything fit together perfectly. Every detour, every heartbreak, every silence. All of it was love guiding you home. The journey of awakening doesn't make you superior. It makes you humble. It softens you. It teaches you that strength has nothing to do with control and everything to do with surrender. Because to awaken is to remember. You were never separated from the whole. You were the whole dreaming of being small. Now, the dream is ending. And you're waking up not to a new world, but to the same world seen with new eyes. You smile, you breathe, and for the first time, you truly exist. Welcome home.